In the depths of the frozen Yukon, a secluded stretch of river still flows through early winter. As bubbling groundwater stops ice forming, it's the perfect spot for late-spawning salmon. This rich food source helps support both frosty-coated ice bears and local people.
We know these bears as ice bears because the moisture from all the open water creates icicles on their fur, and a lot of people talk about the tinkling.
Chum salmon come back into this river year after year because of the quality of the groundwater for spawning. And it is by far the most productive salmon spawning area I have ever seen.
But in recent years, there are fewer salmon arriving in the river.
The situation we're faced with this year is very dire. We have a collapse of all salmon stocks.
So now, with the salmon being impacted, we're seeing less bears return to the region.
28 years ago, I counted 53 individual bears. And this year, we have seen 4 different grizzlies.
It's warming trends in the ocean. It's over-harvesting on the river system. It's over-harvesting through the trawlers. It's bycatch is a big problem. So it's compound. It's not one specific reason why we see the decline.
The impact of less salmon in this ecology here will impact the knowledge passed down from mother grizzly bears to their offspring. Traditionally, they end up using that same territory. So I think with lower and lower salmon production, we're likely to see much, much less bear activity here.
The Gwich'in First Nation, who have coexisted with the river and its ice bears for millennia, are also feeling the change as the salmon disappear, threatening their food security.
We don't want the story to be one day, this used to be full of fish, and this is what it tasted like, and this is what it was like to go fishing.
Without salmon, I would suspect that we would lose a part of our culture.
This year was the first year our leadership put a closure on salmon fishing. We've been using salmon from other rivers, flying it into our community so that we're not putting more harvesting pressure on our stem of the river, and that's not sustainable. That's not in line with the way we live our lives.
We can't just think for today or for tomorrow. We have to think about what does the future hold for us and how do we manage that effectively.
Gwich'in have so much respect for the resources that we rely on. It's embedded in our spirituality. It's a relationship. And when you don't have relationships, it's quiet. It's kind of empty and void.
The feeling of grief caused by environmental change in one's own landscape is known as solastalgia.
My 2 oldest sons have both worked at this site when there were reasonable numbers of fish and bears. And I was so pleased that they could come here and witness this event with me. This year, my youngest son is here for the first time. And he has to see this. That's heartbreaking to me.
We're seeing the weather warming faster than anywhere else in the world.
Really, humanity hasn't learned to live on this planet sustainably. And I think this is proof of that.
What are we willing to do to keep the biodiversity of each of our special regions throughout the world? The Gwich'in alone can't be faced with that question. This is a world question. The community needs to somehow find a balance between continuing doing what they're doing on the land with pushing higher and higher up in the political ranks for action to happen. And that's a big job.
Along with local leadership, fisheries organisations are working on protecting wild salmon stocks. But the future of the Gwich'in, the bears, and this ecosystem will depend on the voices of the next generation.
We all all have a fundamental obligation to protect the environment.
If the kids are connected to the land and they know how to provide for themselves, they will be the best voice and continue that stewardship.